Associate Justices of the Supreme Court present this plaque of recognition to Associate Justice Noel Tijam on the occasion of his retirement from the judiciary. This plaque of recognition starts with a quotation from Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr., and I will read that quotation first. I find the great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving. To reach the port of haven, we must sail sometimes with the wind and sometimes against it. But we must sail and not drift, nor lie at anchor. This is the testimonial. Sailing away from safe harbor and choosing to catch the wind, Justice Noel Tijam embarked on what would be a journey that spans decades, championing and pursuing the law and justice. His mooring rope, only the Constitution, and his bowline, the rule of law. Armed with these, Justice Noel unhesitatingly sailed the judicial seas, the threats of terrible storms and heavy weather notwithstanding. It is with this unmistakable purpose that Justice Noel took the reins of his judicial career, seeing it both as a challenge and an opportunity. Entering the judiciary at the grassroots as a young regional trial court judge of Quezon City, he knew early on that competence is indispensable to be a good judge. But the virtues of compassion, equanimity, innate understanding, and a penchant for justice make a good judge great. From the property disputes, contractual misalignments, and family turmoils besetting ordinary men and women who ran to the courts for succor, to the habeas corpus cases of revolutionary socialists, tax evasion cases of high-profile politicians, copyright infringements of national artists, and the elimination of presidential nuisance candidates, Justice Noel regarded them all with equal importance, giving each one a day in court. Justice Noel stood unwavering in this first line of defense in the dispensation of justice for 9 years. Through all this, he remained unfragmented, his integrity intact. His was a brand of judicial independence, deciding irrespective of personal and extraneous interests, and only in accordance with what the facts, the evidence, and the law unerringly dictated. These virtues he carried with him when he was appointed as Justice of the Court of Appeals, unknowingly fulfilling a secret wish that his father Teofisto carried. He was to serve as Court of Appeals Associate Justice for an outstanding 14 years, enriching the appellate court's jurisprudential chest with his disposition on writs of amparo, habeas data, and kalikasan, as well as his bold nullification of presidential midnight appointments. Justice Noel was almost ready to navigate towards the anchor buoy when the North Star unexpectedly beckoned, refusing to be denied. After having served as trial court judge and as appellate court magistrate, he was appointed the 176th Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Sensing that he serves the highest court on borrowed time, he hoped to address not only the infrastructure of delay besetting the judiciary, but also to renew the adage that public office is a public trust and revitalize the commitment to the resilient institution that is the Supreme Court. In the quo warranto cases, he was uncompromising in his position that a public officer who ignores, trivializes, or disrespects constitutional and legal provisions, as well as the canons of ethical standards, forfeits his or her right to hold and continue in public office. He has rendered an avalanche of significant decisions for which he had unselfishly dedicated his time, skill, and talent. While he staunchly believes that there is no torrent's title to public office, his ponentias, thoughtful, deliberate, and insightful, will remain to be his ultimate vinculum and enduring legacy in the Supreme Court, a gift to transcend generations. Beyond all these, Justice Noel had in fact given more. His voyage was punctuated by his deep respect for his colleagues, coordinate and co-equal, which earned him the institution's admiration. He best exemplified the spirit of collegiality with his humility and open-mindedness to individual peculiarities and his innate ability to transform these peculiarities to a cohesive whole. Truly, his parents, Teofisto and Paz, outstandingly raised an equally outstanding gentleman. In the final stretch of his excursion over the white-crested waves towards the shore, Justice Noel is not one to forget where he has been and where he came from. His strong sense of spirituality, inculcated in him by the unassuming region of Bicol and the Benedictine values of ora et labora, his commitment to philosophy, theory, and practice, honed as a consummate student and teacher, and his devotion to his family and community are precious reminders of the greatness of the man beneath the judicial robe. For his unfaltering service, sacrifice, and devotion to the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, the Regional Trial Court, and the entire Filipino people, we acclaim Justice Noel Jimenez Tijam, to whom we award this plaque of recognition. Given in Manila, Philippines, on this 5th day of January 2019. My beloved colleagues on the court, former Vice President Binay, former Speaker Belmonte, former colleagues on the court, members of the JBC, you don't see them here, they are there. The members of the Court of Appeals, headed by Presiding Justice Barza, other guests, and may it please the court. The Constitution ordains that every judge or justice must retire from the active judiciary upon reaching the age of 70 years. Almost everywhere else in the world, the age of 70 years has been considered the appropriate time of retirement for judges. This must happen even if the judge or justice remains physically and mentally fit. Mandatory retirement serves a twofold objective. One is to enable the judge or justice and his family to enjoy the duly earned retirement benefits for the remainder of his life. The other is to allow a younger judge or justice to take his place. This is how the Constitution preserves judicial continuity for our country. This is also how the Constitution avoids the peril of judges tenured for life from continuing in office despite senility or physical incapacity. Today, therefore, the Court holds this special en banc session to send one of its worthy members off to a well-deserved retirement from the active bench. This follows the Court's tradition of long standing. This special en banc session becomes the happy occasion of celebrating the retiring colleagues' worthy contributions to the judiciary. We have heard just a few minutes ago of how substantial have been Justice Noel Tijam's contributions to both the judiciary and the legal profession. He has completed close to a quarter of a century of dedicated judicial work. He has also left an indelible impact on law school education, continuing legal education for lawyers and judges, and rulemaking. In my personal estimation, his legal scholarship and judicial statesmanship, which the Court has outlined in the lengthy testimonial, are undeniably of high caliber. He has thereby validated the proposition that judges must be more than mere lawyers. They must be statesmen as well. My personal encounter with Justice Noel happened first in September 1994, the time when he joined the Quezon City Regional Trial Court. I had been in that court earlier, since November 1986 to be precise. He quickly impressed the majority of his peers in Quezon City, including myself, that he took the judicial office and tasks with consistent seriousness. He apparently loved the job, as if he was born to be the judge that he had become. Yet, he also struck us about his humanity by exhibiting a lighter side of himself through good humor. Such seriousness and good humor were surely essential qualities that all judges, in order to succeed in dispensing justice to all litigants, should be well endowed with. Indeed, seriousness is the mark of a high intellect and a dedication to duty, while good humor manifests a persona of humanity and understanding. Justice Noel thus turned out to be a formidable judge. As Nelson Mandela unerringly observed, a good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Sadly, though, not all judges were as endowed as Justice Noel has been. Every judge, including those of us sitting on the court, must accept our own humanity and not be reluctant to exhibit it. Admittedly, we do bear pressures from within ourselves as well as from without. The great Justice Cardoso very aptly conceded this situation in his famous work, The Nature of Judicial Process. He wrote, "The great tides and currents which engulf the rest of men do not turn aside in their course and pass the judges by. But we are measured and defined by how we deal with such pressures, and in that regard, our colleague Justice Noel has done excellently." Justice Noel distinguished himself quickly enough in the trial bench. After only 9 years as a presiding judge in the QC-RTC, he earned promotion to the Court of Appeals in early 2003. In contrast, I had toiled in the Quezon City RTC for 16 years before earning a similar promotion. I had a little consolation then, however, because he and I were promoted to the Court of Appeals at the same time, the two of us being among 4 RTC judges who went to the Court of Appeals together in March 2003. But I also have another reason to be boastful today, because 3 of the 4 in that group, Justice Noel, Justice Rory Carandang, and myself, are now colleagues on the court that I am presiding. In his entire career in the judiciary, Justice Noel consistently dispensed justice with an even hand. He saw justice as not a commodity to be selectively dispensed. While sitting in judgment over the fates and concerns of litigants, he was neither tyrannical nor whimsical. This was easy for him to do because he was not vain or arrogant. His innate level-headedness ensured that as a judge he would always sit to determine questions and resolve issues on stormy as well as on calm days. He bound himself to the ideal that law and justice should not be made to depend on the litigant's creed or religion, status or wealth, power or influence, but only on the strengths and weaknesses of their causes and defenses. He did not deny that fairness in judging could often be obstructed, but even then, he did not avoid or evade the sworn responsibility to be fair and true to his oath. And so today, we honor and celebrate the remarkable accomplishments Justice Noel achieved as a jurist and as a member of the court. I cannot end this message without acknowledging the great part that Justice Noel's loving and supportive family, his wife, Cynthia Cornejo Tijam, their children, Michael, Paul, and Maria Cecilia, and their grandchildren, Micaela, Gabriel Noel, Christiana Nicole, Christina, Alexa, Cristel Natalia, and Noel Thomas, played in his career in the judiciary. I salute you all for this. His success as a trial and appellate judge and his accomplishments while he sat on the court became possible because of your unfailing and constant inspiration and motivation. Justice Noel has always professed his devotion to all of you. You can now rest easy with the thought that it is now possible for you to have more time with him. To Justice Noel, colleague and friend, we bid you well on your retirement.